Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the Melbourne Stars BBL team preview on SuperCoach and going through who I think are really good value, especially given we have some underpriced guys and there's probably going to be a couple of red flags I think in the Melbourne Stars lineup. Especially being underpriced internationals. I think there will be some, or international quality players. I think there'll be some that people pick up that won't necessarily go so well. And I think there'll be some that maybe actually you pick up later on in the year because you're not so certain at the start and then they actually turn on and fire. And you're sort of uncertain at the moment because of international performance. But before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, that's sort of the most selected at the moment, and I'm just going to sort it by highest price. So to start off with this side, you actually have Bo Webster as the most expensive player going into this year. I don't know how that's actually occurred, but yeah, Bo Webster here. Break even of 111, so they obviously have the double in round one. I just need to check when their doubles are. Double round one, miss round two, double round three, round four, and then a double round five, and then a miss. So you really want to pick them up for this section here, rounds 3, 4, and 5, where they have the double, single, double run, and then they have the bye. And 7, 8, 9 from memory, I think, is when you want to pick up the Perth Scorchers players, as they have a good run there, I believe. I believe they pretty much set up to have 2 doubles in the last 4 rounds or something similar to that. I'm not exactly sure, as we haven't gone through the Perth side yet. I believe Perth is one of the, where are they? They will be tomorrow's side that we go through. Yeah, so the likes of the Melbourne Stars guys, you either start with them and then you just hold them on your bench because 110k, if you have a good enough bench player, you can play with them, or you can trade them out in the first round after the first round's conclusion with all your Brisbane Heat players, and then trade them back in after into round three, and then hold them for 3, 4, and 5, as we said here, and trade them out after 5, and then potentially pick them up in 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there for the last little stretch. But there is a chance that you probably don't want to pick them up just because there's other teams on the double, and I believe it's the Scorchers, as I was saying earlier. So Bo Webster as a 173k, he averaged 55.9 last year. If we look at his stats, the previous year 17, the year before that 32, the year before that 50. So with him, I don't know where he's going to bat. I would think he's going to bat 5, I would say, and he's going to bowl 2 to 3 overs a game. I would think maybe bowl out is 4. Sort of dependent on opposition. And if we look just at his stats from last year, you'll see 426 runs, which is a fair amount from 13 games. Obviously, he's not gonna. So did he play 13? Yeah, it looks like he played 12 games, right? 14 rounds played. Apparently, I don't get that. It says here that he only played X amount of games, which he played 14 and averaged 50. So 14 with the bat, that's what, average of 30 or whatever. That's pretty good. And then got the strike rate bonus, which was effectively around 7 a game for him. That's the 2019. Oh, this is a different campaign. I'm pretty sure those stats were not aligned. There you go. 274 in 12 or 14 games, something like that. So that's an average of 23 a game, and then a strike rate bonus of about 5 a game, and 7 wickets as well, so under a wicket game. But then he also makes up for it with a huge economy rate bonus here, and then a huge 10 catches and 2 run-outs, I believe. So I think he is of value just because, like we were saying with Will Sutherland and some other guys, he is one of those guys that can literally get it across the board. As you can see here, 78 here, this was a massive one where he didn't even he took 1 wicket, didn't get a wicket bonus. He's never got a wicket bonus. A lot of dot balls as well, economy rates, some negatives there from extras. but just across the board here, you can just see he's just filling up the stat sheet. So if I was picking him, I think it would be mostly because of the doubles. So he might be one that we watch for the first 2 games, and then we see in round 3 that he's doing pretty well and he's an option, and go him 3, 4, 5. But if he's not performing well in the first 2, I wouldn't be going for him, as I think there's guys like, I think Harry Brook will be back from, I believe he's on England duty with the ODI, and like we were saying yesterday with the ODI and the, I've just read here I've opened Twitter, and he's missing the opening double because of England call-ups, him, Crawley, and Rian Ahmed, who will get to Rian Ahmed and the Sixers squad, and I'll give you more reliable information than some people on Twitter. They will be missing the England international. So just be wary about your international players going into round 1 and check their availability, because this obviously could set you. I think it would set you apart from, like, I look at Brooks, 7.4% owned, and 97% on field. Like, that's gonna probably get you ahead of, I would say, 20% of the field, 25% of the field, just having a full starting 11 that actually play. And then depending on if they play double and triple, you might be able to already gap 45% of the field, almost half the field, just because you have a better round 1 team. And then they almost can't make that back up because it's such a short season. It's not like the AFL fantasy where you can go for cash gen over points and make that up later on. Then you've got, secondly, Nathan Coulter-Nile, and I mean, I don't really see there being much value here. 2023 averaged 55. What did he do the year before that? 35. I just think he had a good year last year. 67 the year before that. 48. He bounces around quite a lot, and I just don't like the value at 55 that year. If we look back at 22, 23. 55.5, I don't necessarily like the value here. Look at his fantasy stats, 23 runs, just 16 wickets, and 88 dot balls through, how many games did he play? 11, so that's 8 dot balls a game, and then economy rate bonus of around 11 a game, and then 5 catches as well. So I just don't like the value there terribly much, but you could, like with Webster, view him as a potential target in the doubles. But I don't think there's too much value, to be honest, there. He doesn't apply much with the fielding, even though he's a decent fielder. And he doesn't actually apply much with the, as you can see here, 2 catches there. He can really sort of not take wickets with the ball, and then you're out of options because he doesn't apply much with the runs. You can see here in 2018-19, 102 runs. That was a really good year for him. But outside of that, I don't really see there being much value. Harry Brooks, missing opening round. We'll see in rounds 3, 4, and 5 whether he's actually valuable. Don't think that he will be, to be honest with you, as we need to get a gauge, and I don't know if that 160k is actually way too valuable for him. I mean, if you look, I believe did he play a couple years ago? Yeah, you can see he played a couple years ago, averaged 16, so don't know how they've gotten him at 160k. That's just such a blanket value, which I think has pretty much put everyone off that's playing the game seriously off him. Sam Harper will be probably keeping with this squad here, just looking at it. Yeah, I don't think there's any other keeper in this squad, and like, not only just named as keeper, but actual keepers. So Sam Harper has to play. So I guess Sam Harper will be a good potential option in rounds 3, 4, and 5 as just sort of a batter or a keeper. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get Whiteman up to him, as Whiteman would need to double his price in 2 rounds, and that's just not going to happen unless Whiteman went on a tear. But Sammy Harper could definitely be valuable in the, as you see here, 34. He's getting 34s and 40s when you really need guys to pop off and go even higher. So I don't think he'll be too much valuable at 130k, but could be valuable in the doubles, as we've been saying. That's pretty much the way that this season's going to go, is lining up and getting as many doubles as you can. Scotty Boland, 125k. looking at him right here, and I'm pretty sure it was 2 years ago. He had a really good, not 2 years ago, was it? No. He had a really good fantasy year 1 year, but it doesn't look like he's... Take that back. He's always been around the 40k. I thought he had 1 year where he just was unplayable, but doesn't seem like it. And Scotty Boland doesn't provide much with the bat, doesn't provide much in the field. So am I going to pick him up? I mean, what was going on here? That must be not Scott. I'm sorry, but he's provided 242 runs with the bat, but no catches? Have they got his profile wrong? Am I looking at the right player? Scott Boland, the bowler who's taken no wickets, but that's not right in any way, shape or form. I can 100% guarantee that that's not right. That looks like Sammy Harper's stats, because he's not a keeper. Have they muffed that? I am totally confused why they had Scott Boland down for... Yeah, what? I'm confused. I'm confused why it says Scott Boland, but then also has him for batting stat. That is a weird one. That is a bug in the game, I'm guessing. Then you have Usman Amir. I don't think there's too much value here, to be honest with you. Another bowler hasn't played, I don't think. So will be interesting to see, but slapping 125k on him, I don't think there'll be much value, and we get to watch him in the first couple rounds, most likely in that first game week, just to see how he does and see where he really lies in the type of bowler that he is. Pretty sure he's a mystery spinner though. So from what I've heard around the T20 leagues, etc., I'm pretty sure he's a mystery spinner. Then you come to Harris Ralph, and he's had an awful World Cup. Absolutely stunk up the place, and I don't know if there's too much value here, even though he averaged 56, he averaged 8 the year before that, and 74. So will his raw pace just get him the points there needed? And also you got to remember that there is a potential for him not to actually, I guess, play, and it seems like this is just breaking the system here. So let me just see if it... Yeah, it's just the BBL. So I'm just going to refresh the page here. And hopefully, if I go to filters and go to Melbourne Stars, hopefully it will show you the a better, I guess, breakdown of this. If we go now to sort by highest price, hopefully now it has Scotty Boland's actual stats and not his... and the game's just proper broken mid video, it looks like. And anyway, let's just see, is this working finally? Is this actually going to give me his actual stats here? It looks like that's Scotty Boland's actual stats. That looks more respectable for Scotty Boland. No, it doesn't. Scott Boland does not have 170 runs with the bat and no wickets, I can tell you that, and 396 runs with the bat, so that's not right. But anyway, and we got here Harris Ralph's stats, 108, so 9 wickets in that year, 1 wicket that year, and 25 wickets this year, I believe, or was it only 20 wickets when they valued wickets at 25? So that could have been, yeah, that looks to be the case, that they valued wickets at 25 in 2019-20. So that would bump his average up a little bit, actually, by just general, probably... Well, if you look at it, 20 wickets, so that's what bumped his average up by bumped his overall score up by 100, and 100 divided by 10. So he actually averaged 64 that year in 2019-20. If you go by the stats of the scoring system, so that's not that's only 8 higher, and he was unplayable that year. So I'm not really inclined to go after him, even though he averaged 56, just because I think that there is a lot better value just even going a Glenn Maxwell down there. Steketee, 118. Don't really see there being much value here at 118 for Steketee. I mean, he did take 10 wickets last year, I mean, including a massive double round here, it looks, at against Adelaide and someone else, where he took 6 of his wickets. I just don't see there being much value, and I think that if you look at him, I mean, he averaged 61 that year, 49. There is probably a little bit of value, but it's negligible at best, in my opinion. And I think at 118k, you can see for 200 coins cheaper, you have Glenn Maxwell. And Glenn Maxwell is probably going to be one of the most owned players in the comp, I think. Behind maybe Nessa, just because of Nessa's triple. And I think that's solely a reason why, because last year didn't play, and the year before that, 63, and he is valued at 37.5 or somewhere around that. So he is 26 points unders from his 2021, 25 point unders, 27 point unders. He is, around that 25. He's around 23 to 28 point unders from every single campaign that he's ever had on the BBL. So I think that's just too much value. That is like 60% upside there or whatever on his, around 60% upside that there is for him there. So I think you just have to pick him, because look at that, 468 runs, 100 strike rate bonus as well, 50 runs bonus as well, 4 wickets, which I think he'll do better. And then you can also see 6 catches in the field. If we go back the year before that, 9 catches, no run-outs. This is a little bit of a surprise, but 7 wickets as well. And his batting seems to be in even better form. And then look at this. Here you go. 5 catches of run-outs, 60 dot balls, 10 wickets, almost 400 runs, and obviously it will be a shortened season, and a strike rate bonus of 139. I don't know how they did that. And then a runs bonus. I believe there's somewhere in here that they included the 4s and 6s in this season, so maybe they bump it down a little bit. So maybe this, from 2019 backwards, he only averaged like 58 or whatever. But like, it's still ridiculous average, and there's so much upside with him, so I'd be going with him. Stoinis now, he doesn't look as much in form, so I think this could easily be one of the ones where it's like a red flag here. As you can see, just looking back at his stats, you really have to go back to 2020 to 2021 for him to really play well. But then you look back at 2019, 2020, and 2018, 2019, where he just absolutely destroyed the competition. So look, there definitely is a place for him to be of value. And I think we might be able to watch him in the opening round and then just pick him up round 3, 4, and 5. I think this is the biggest watch in game week 1 is what does Marcus Stoinis do? Because if Marcus Stoinis gets like, say, 90 or something across the first 2, projected to get 68, drop 1.6k, so that's around 200 per 200 loss per point below break even. So say he gets a 90, he'll go up 3-4k, and that's really negligible, to be honest. That'll get him up to 120k, and that's sort of still going to be gettable. But if he gets, say, like even 150 or something like that, 150 would get him up around about that around 15k, and 130k you still get him. So like, if he goes off and really starts, you can get him before he explodes. And especially because he'll have a break even of like almost like 3 or 4. It'll be in like the teens or lower for that game week 3, 4, and 5, and you can pick him up there. And I think that is sort of the go, is just watching Marcus Stoinis, because he could have one of those 90 seasons where he looks terrible in international cricket, but then has a really good season. In BBL, as we saw him average 90 one year, 70 another year, and I think 60. So he's had big seasons, but he's also had a 38 and a 28. So we don't know which way it's going to go. Tom Rogers, opener, I don't even know if he'll play, to be honest. I think they'll have potentially, I think Stoinis will probably open, and you'll have not Webster open. You might have Harper open as well. I don't even know if Rogers gets a game, to be honest with you. Especially when they have the likes of Harry Brook come into the side. I don't think he'll get a game. So I don't think there's value there, as he's a selection issue. Joel Paris actually has looked really good in the the One Day Cup, and I think he's played a little bit of Sheffield Shield cricket as well, and he's picked up wickets for fun there. So I think he is of value potentially coming into the rounds 3, 4, or 5 if he does get a game, but we'll have to see on that, as it's basically between him and Couch for that last bowling spot, in my opinion. So those two are sort of watchers on selection issues, etc. alongside that. Then you have Hilton Cartwright at 92k, and he's just a batter now, it seems like. It doesn't look like he's going to bowl, and that pretty much takes away all his potential growth here at 92k. If we look here, you'll see 2022 average 29. And did he even bowl any bit? Doesn't look like he bowled at all. The season before that, bowled 1 dot ball, so he must have bowled an over or two there. The season before that, 4 dot balls. He does do a lot out in the field, I will give him that. But like, there's only so much you can do out there, and he's going to bat like 6 or whatever. So he's going to bat below Maxwell. He's going to bat below probably Stoinis. He's going to bat below Brooks. Going to bat below Harper. I think that'll be sort of your top 4. Or top 4, top 5. And I think he'll bat probably 5 or 6. And therefore, he's not going to get too much of a run, to be honest. And I think that there's just so many guys that are of more value. And I think he's just not going to get the strike rate bonus that I think he needs to be of value. Nick Larkin as well, similar to Cartwright. Well, he's sort of behind them as the next batter off the rank. So I don't think he'll play. Neither with Joe Burns. And Campbell Callaway, I don't think will play as well. So that pretty much sums up the whole Melbourne Stars, I guess, BBL preview. And I guess that's the video there. And I'll see you guys in the next preview, which will be the Perth Scorchers. So we've got 3 left. You'll also have a mock draft because the draft is coming up in just under a week. So you'll have that. And then I guess you'll have, there won't be much as we sort of go through probably a BBL team preview team reveal 2.0. You'll also have a draft review, and it's sort of starved of content a little bit. Hopefully once the exams stop, I can get some other content out on the channel. So there's that. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.